It was a noble undertaking, and it was very intelligent of General Bradley to think of it. The point was how to break the stalemate that is holding the American soldiers in the bocage area of Normandy, where they are suffering very badly. You can't use tactics there. We've got to do something new. He got the idea, let us send 2,000 bombers over and give them the treat that we've been giving Berlin all the time. Let's bomb them to hell and devastate them, and then our troops can be freed. And they were freed ultimately, and that is when General Patton's Third Army entered the show. Well, what we learned there is the difficulty of communication. The bombers were supposed to observe a line about a mile wide and about maybe 6 miles long, an oblong in which they could bomb. And they'd been told the troops will vacate that area. And they believed that. But what happened was that the bombs they dropped left smoke behind. And the Americans mistook that smoke for the smoke of their own smoke screen, which they had worked out. And the bombers assumed that that was an empty space, and it's actually full of American soldiers. And they bombed it from these B-17s, these immense bombs. They bombed it for a long time, and they killed a great many American soldiers. Stupidly, because nobody had thought, you know, when the bombs go off, that's going to change the smoke line, isn't it? Nobody thought of that. And so that is something that was never reported. And it wasn't reported also because it made possible the breakthrough from the Omaha beachhead to get the war really going with tanks and to free General Patton's Third Army to rampage all over France. They were about 500 yards from Paris a couple of days later. They went so fast. Well, that was one occasion which would have to be called ironic, because the hopes were so high that that was going to be a workable solution to a difficult problem.
Did it not? When they corrected the mistake, they just destroyed the Germans who were there, isn't it?
Yeah, it did that. It did that and made possible the advance, but it also destroyed a great many American soldiers.
You know, the thing that struck me, Paul, as the ultimate irony was that the book says that to escape the American efforts to kill them, some of these Germans were driven so insane that they killed themselves instead.
That's true. Yeah, they saw that was the only way out. But they had very different views about honor than we had. So that is not really very surprising. There was something else I wanted to say about that. I've forgotten what it is, but doesn't matter. Yes, in the book, actually the book is my book called The Boys' Crusade.
Yeah.
I advise sightseers, and Normandy is a great sightseer's target. I said, don't waste your time looking for a monument about the hundreds of American troops killed on that occasion, because there is none. And there probably never will be, because it's so shameful. I mean, that we were so stupid as to kill our own soldiers. Well, I learned later on that that happens much more often than we realize. And it always has to be covered up with public lies of one kind or another, or implicit public lies by just not mentioning it. If you mention it, people are going to catch on that war is very dangerous indeed, and look out.
You know, you tell the story about Operation Cobra that I think it was General McNair who had been responsible for training the United States. He was behind the lines in a hole.
Yeah.
They never found anything but a piece of a shirt collar.
That's right, because we thought we had withdrawn the troops entirely to safety, and he was the director of training of the United States Army. I think he was either a full general or a lieutenant general, and he'd found a nice dugout, something to be in. They thought he was perfectly safe. Well, apparently a bomb hit right on top of him and blew him all to hell. Fantastic.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law. the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.